President.
Leaders from different opposition circles restated their need to pass the earlier proposed electoral reforms before the next election. The call for electoral reforms were first proposed in 2015 and later revised in 2019 in the run-up of the 2021 general elections. These include reinstating term and age limits, removing the army from parliament, voting for the vice president, abolishing the prime minister's office, and transfer some roles to the office of the vice president, and trimming of the size of parliament, among others. Now, some political analysts have weighed in on the matter.
For you to even talk about removing the army from parliament in these new reforms, you'd have to have a civil-military discussion or discourse where I would have to assure the military and its position within the framework of governance.
I sympathize with the opposition political parties trying to bring electoral reforms, but I don't think that that is really the core of the problem that we need to be dealing with.
Why don't we have the returning officers declare results at constituency, at district, and the results are always declared at national level by the chairman of the Electoral Commission? What happens at the constituency, at the district?
However, Godbert Mushabe believes the opposition should direct their efforts to realize the separation of powers of government along with the proposed electoral reforms.
Even if you reform the laws, the electoral laws, if you don't deal with the structural imbalances in the structure of power, you are not going to get any meaningful outcome in terms of the electoral process.
Jonathan Tabaranga identifies the change to voting for the vice president as critical in trimming the powers of the president.
You would have a vice president who is not a lame duck, someone who is almost useless, someone who is appointed and then later sacked. So you'll have a situation like what is in Kenya. You have a president. If you go to the polls, you have a candidate for the president and a candidate for the vice president, and you have what we call a running mate.
However, the analysts believe nothing tangible will be achieved without the government political will, especially the president.
So should General Museveni be still yearning to remain incumbent and the president of Uganda, he cannot appreciate the proposed reforms.
The elections in Uganda right now are run as a military operation, where the senior army officers are deployed to manage different regions.
The analysts are convinced that just as it happened in 2015 and later 2019, it will remain an uphill task for the opposition to make a dent in their initiative to hold electoral reforms due to the numerical disadvantage in parliament. Ali Mivule, NTV.